The year is 1985. Legendary animation studio, Studio Ghibli, is founded in Japan. Coca-Cola changes its formula and releases new Coke, but the response is overwhelmingly negative, and within 3 months, they turn back to normal Coke. So that was like Coke Quest Advanced. The inaugural WrestleMania was held in Madison Square Garden. The titular matchup was between Hulk Hogan and Mr. T versus Mr. Wonderful and Rowdy Roddy Piper. That was staged. There's no way you were going to allow Hulk Hogan and Mr. T to lose a fight. I don't care who the other two guys are. If there was ever a case upon which to build the theory that all wrestling is just staged, that's a different video. You can subscribe to my nerdy nostalgia conspiracy videos on another channel. Tears for Fears released Songs from the Big Chair, which had Shout and Everybody Wants to Rule the World. And speaking of everybody wanting to rule the world, today we're going to take a look at a game that illustrates this exact event. I've said elsewhere that between the years of 79 and 94, we just had 15 years of amazing board games. We had a lot of incredible fantasy media within that time period, actually. I would say that it was just the golden, maybe even platinum age of fantasy. You could argue that nothing from J.R.R. Tolkien was published in this time, but his body of work is spread everywhere, so it would really be unfair and very unfocused to kind of narrow down a set time period. I only learned just today that the Silmarillion, which was published in 1977, was released posthumously after Christopher Tolkien edited the work. That is neither here nor there. Well, I guess it's here and now, but now it's going to be behind us and beyond. As we go over to the Harbinger, and I show you a little game from Games Workshop called Warrior Knights, the epic game of power and politics. This is one of the most badass pieces of art to ever grace a Games Workshop box. And that is not a statement that I use lightly because they really never miss with their classic box art. This is just such a cool depiction of a sinister knight watching as two other knights clash in this epic battle upon these heavily clad steeds. I look at this cover, this font, this emblazoned emblem upon which the font is embossed. Now, is there a name for this sort of backdrop in the context of bordering the words for things that are titles and such? And I am immediately immersed. This is a game from Games Workshop for 2 to 6 players, ages 10 to adult. Allow me now to welcome you home, brave heroes. I'm Ash, this is Ash Quest, and today we're going to take a look at Warrior Knights. My copy is a bit dingy. It is obviously secondhand, practically an antique. I don't know if it's out of the realm of vintage into antique just yet. I would reckon to guess that it's still vintage. With fire and sword and your battle-hardened bands of warrior knights, you hold the balance of power in a kingdom torn apart by bloody civil war and anarchy. The king lies dead, murdered by a traitor's hand, whilst the forces of scheming barons ravage the countryside and war upon their rivals. I'll be right back. I just want to go Google when George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series started. Which will emerge from the conflict as the new lord of the empire? Will it be you that conquers all to become the first of a new dynasty of warrior knights? Number of players 2 to 6, the more the better. Ages 10 to adult, playing time is 2 to 3 hours. The game designer is Derek Carver, and development and production from Albi Fiore, while the cover artwork was from Chris Achilleos. Oh, Chris. Fine work, Chris. That's much ado, so without further of it, it's time to unbox. And this is a very tight box. No details under the lid. They knew they had a winner with the piece of art that they used because they replicated it for the rulebook to great effect. Now this is going to jump scare you, so I'm going to warn you now. I've already gone through all of the components and I have applied my own custom sorting methods. As you will see here, we have Ziploc bagged chits, some rubber bands over cards, this very flat, very small scale Walmart tray for, I think, findings. I had a bunch of these, and a lot of the game components that I was getting in my newer games were much too large or too numerous to fit within these, but these older games, man, they have so many small pieces, and these are just perfect for those. They're very cheap too, less than $2 a container at your friendly local blue big box department store of evil. And a medicine container. I have yet to take some acetone and scrub off those letters if I can be bothered to do it, but there are 7 different units of currency in this game, so it's perfect. We've got the half, 1, 5, 10, 50, 100, and 500. I guess it would be better if I actually showed you the currency. We'll try that again. We've got the half, the whole, the 5, the 10, the 50, the 100, and the 500 tokens, covering all of our monetary needs. I put the snack in the box to save for a rainy day. That's the joke that's gonna get this channel taken down. And I was actually lucky enough to get a copy that still had some pieces unpunched. I don't know if lucky is the right word, because I kind of want to punch them. Punch is really not the right word either. For cardstock that is this old and this thin, with perforations this numerous, you can really only tear them out. But I have to ask, for anybody who remembers unboxing this when it was brand new, and I mean within the first 5 years of its manufacturing, did these more punch out? Was this more rigid stock? Or has time made it floppy, as is wont to happen? It's nothing to be ashamed of. As to the board, we have this fine quality quad fold that opens up to display a region that I am pretty sure is rooted in reality on our Earth. I think this because while I've never heard of these cities, they very well could be completely made up fantasy cities. Vecht, Lens, Getza, Olby, Iran, Isar, Koval, Thera, Straven, Senlik, Bingen, Mons, and don't forget the Mountains, but things used to be named so much simpler back then. We concurrently have location names that are rooted in reality, such as the Indies, Ceylon, the Spice Islands, and if you really wanted this on the nose, just China, straight up China. This takes me out of the fantasy just a little bit. I can do actual Eurocentric medieval towns and whatnot, even if they're based on real places, that's fine. I guess it is a component of a baronial feud to be able to import and export your goods. I just always prefer fantasy to reality in terms of gaming. It's not a knock against any of the countries listed here. Besides that, it is easy to see that the board is divided into numbered sections, a sort of grid with numbers along the edges of the west and north sides of the board, such that you could easily assign a combination of numbers to denote any one space, such as 5, 5 being this space here. There are numerous features in this space. We have Getza, the number 200, a square with 2, 3, 4, and 1 bordering it along its corners, the number 20 in a gold circle, and the illustration of a castle. We've also got our green coat of arms, what looks to be a road running through what is mainly grasslands, maybe just a copse of trees. And that's the illustration more or less on every square on this board. We do have more mountains in some, more trees in the other, and maybe this is going to affect gameplay in some way. Our coat of arms are in different places, and each one of those coat of arms symbols corresponds to one of the colors of player pawn, and the 4 distinct pawns that come in each color. These are special playing pieces for that player. Doubtless they are going to tell us where each of these start. We have a crossed swords, for example, on the light green, and that would be here. A fleur de lis, what is very much to me a symbol of heraldry. And this symbol, I'm sure it has a name. It's an upward turned moon. I'm more than certain it has a name though, and an actual different symbology that I'm just not seeing. Now if we place these tokens on the board, they form this arrangement, and we see this arrangement repeated across several sections of the board, which to me means that everybody's going to get a very equal and equally distributed arrangement for their armies. I don't know yet because I haven't read the rules. Let's move on to the cards. We get 6 differently colored decks, only a few cards per deck really. Again, corresponding to the colors of the 6 possible players. And just to explain that, that's going to be this hot pink, this dark green, the light green that we've already placed on the board, black, brown, and orange. A nice muted orange, more of a burnt sienna, if we're going to be Bob Ross about it. Component colors are very easy to make out, and it's very easy to correlate what pieces go with what cards based on the colors. But let's go ahead and grab the black cards. We have 4 noble cards, and then we have this card for, I suppose, the Baron. Each of the noble cards has a depiction of a knight or the noble, and each one's got a shield with a corresponding symbol. What is that? Those are the symbols that we have just looked at on the pawn. So each of these cards are for each of the pawns that we have on the board. And we have attack types. Attack, troop type, wages, and defense. The Barons cards are double-sided, denoting whether or not they are in residence or not in residence. Now I'm curious if all of these are based on real people. Is this a historical event? Like, did this king actually get murdered? Did these barons actually vie for power afterwards? These are very specifically named people. Although I will say they seem like they're from all over the place, which makes it feel like, to me, it's highly unlikely that they are real. Because you've got Henry, Duc de Bon, Bartolomeo di Milano, which seems Italian to me, Sir John Dudley Black, obviously more of the British inclination, and Friedrich von Raven, so German. And this guy would be French, right? I could be wrong. I could be totally, absolutely wrong. But I do think that that's really interesting. All these guys have got different names because they're all very distinctly different playing pieces. Cool way to differentiate everybody. Now you might be wondering, what is up with the details at the bottom of the noble card? They all say the same thing: attack, troop type, wages, defense. Well, we are going to get to that. But first, we are going to read from the rulebook just a little bit, and rest assured this is a very beefy rulebook. It looks like it is very well laid out. I really like when rulebooks are separated by passages like this for easy reference, as long as the passages all make sense within their respective categories. There aren't a lot of pages, but what pages there are chock full of information. We have a beautiful, lovely, gorgeous, very seductive passage here at the very end. The note on rules. If any situation should arise which is not covered by the rules, then players should agree on a logical interpretation from the given rules. This should then be noted for future reference. Do not be inhibited from inventing your own house rules if you feel that they would enhance your group's pleasure of the game. Once again, these should be noted down to avoid future arguments. This last page also has the summary of game sequence, and it has the specific part in the rulebook where you can find a rule on each of these steps in the game sequence. I love that. I've said this in a couple of other videos, especially these videos where I'm looking at these vintage, these antique games. But game design doesn't get better because it matures, or it doesn't mature because it becomes more contemporary. We have absolute gems from way back, and we have absolute garbage from way back. We have gems now, and we have garbage now. That's true of all media. You think there wasn't any garbage music back then? Just listen to Surfin' Bird, with major, sincere apologies for whom Surfin' Bird is a favorite song. So the summary of the game sequence is basically the assembly round, the movement round, and stuff that can be done at any time. The assembly round includes the auction of mercenaries, deciding to attend assembly, allocation of votes and discussion of motions, voting, turning new assembly cards, launching of stronghold attacks, trading fleets, passing chairman and veto cards, allocation of mercenaries, and the end of assembly round, moving the game round marker to the movement round. The movement round is a little simpler, with receipt of income, payment of outgoings, movement and attacks, and each baron has a turn in order in which they draw a fate card, move nobles, attack, spoils of victory, raise or remove garrisons. Then, after each baron has had a turn, the movement round end, and the game round marker moved on. In a 3 to 6 player game, there is another movement round, and the game then continues with an assembly round as above. But in a 2-player game, there are 2 more movement rounds before the game continues with an assembly round. Despite the name of the game being Warrior and Knights, there is actually a lot more political play here. What we just read clues you in on some vast goings-ons. You are going to be role-playing these barons. As a little treat, we've got an errata right in the box. Kindly brought to our attention that an unfortunate typo has crept through the proofing net in our production of the game Warrior Knights. The slip has occurred on one of the fate cards. The particular card is the epidemic card. The last sentence on the card should read as follows: "We have reproduced the card details below, incorporating the correction." Thanks to Derek Carver for pointing out the error. What a novel concept. Some parts of the game get finished being manufactured before others. Therefore, you can notice when an errata is needed before the game ships. We have a few more tokens that I want to show you. Pretty much all of the tokens in these 2 cavities in this container are votes. Each chit stands for 1 vote. There are cities that are razed to the ground. That's important for setup because your job is going to be overall taking over more than half of the cities that are not razed. The game has 1 6-sided die. Each faction has its own colored chit, colored castle. There are additional Baron cards that denote whether or not the Baron is attending the assembly. The Barons are actually able to completely leave this board and travel to the locations denoted on the edges of the board. Your Baron can just go to China. And if Baron Heinrich Otto Zobel goes to China, he's probably not going to attend the assembly. There's something I need to point out here because I was very impressed. I was in awe when I read it. It's easy to believe, but it's right here under Organization of a Faction 2.1, the layout of cards. There are over 800 components in this epic game. Therefore, to help the flow of the game, each Baron must clearly display all the cards and tokens relating to their faction as shown in the diagram below. You'll lay out your noble cards. You will lay out the troops and offices, which we still need to get to. You will lay out your stronghold card and the troops allocated to the stronghold. Everything must be clearly visible. Your vote tokens must be clearly displayed here during assemblies. Your Baron card shows off who you are. Your concessions, governor and ambassador here. The income from concession. Troops allocated to run the concession. Each player plays a Baron with voting power at the assembly and a faction of nobles at their command. The winner is the first Baron to capture and hold more than half of the unrazed cities of the kingdom. That seems a little bit different than the Clash of Knights that the art seems to promise and the name of the game. But we'd be remiss not to read the intro. With fire, it's short, it's just up here. With fire and sword and your battle-hardened bands of warrior knights, you hold the I already read that actually. That's on the back of the box. The game proceeds in rounds. The first round of the game is an assembly round. Thereafter, the rounds occur in the following order: movement round, assembly round. The sequence continues throughout the game. To help keep track, there is a game round sequence at the bottom of the board, which is right... Where are you? This one? Yeah, right there. There's just 3 little spots here, marked 1, 2, and 3. 1, wages and move. 1, wages and move. 3, assembly. 2, 1, 2, 3. That's fun. To help you, we've included exactly 2.5 by 1 inch, not even 2.5. Each assembly round comprises the following phases in this order: opening, voting, stronghold attacks, trading fleets, and conclusion. And the sequence of a movement round is income phase, wages phase, movement, and attack. But don't run away. Don't run away yet. I know you're looking at I told you, it's just like Game of Thrones. And that includes all of the parts of the show where they're sitting at the table discussing the treasury and who's being betrayed and what to do about it. I'm going to show you the Mercenaries deck. So this might draw some of you back in. The card art was so good, they decided to use it twice, also for the Regulars deck. Our Mercenaries deck has a lot of cards. On the opposite side, we have Lombards, Swiss, Poles, English. It just goes on with giving you, here we go, Romanians. Okay, so they're from locations. But these are the modifiers. Never mind the illustration, that's there for flavor. The modifiers go underneath the nobles as you acquire. So now you can clearly see that the attack of the noble is 50, the troop type is Lombards, the wages is 2.5, and the defense is 50. Now how about that? Isn't that nice? Obviously, the higher the attack and defense, the higher the wages is going to be. So you'll have to make some decisions there. I've also seen, thanks to the rulebook, that you can have more than one of these per noble, making public your overall strength when you decide to go showcase your power to an opposing player. The mercenary cards are bid on during the auction of mercenaries, and each player playing a Baron is going to secretly write their bid on a piece of paper and turn it in as each card is revealed in the auction process. This problem could be completely avoided if there was just more of a stock. I mean, having mercenaries get sold out just so scalpers can buy them and sell them on the secondhand market is a huge problem. We need to manufacture more mercenaries. We have an assemblies deck, although I guess I could show you that the Regulars deck is very much very much alike to the Mercenaries deck. It's regular troops. It's just tons and tons of regular troops with the same pricing and strength increase structure as the Mercenaries. I like these guys. They're free, and they don't provide you with any attack or defense. It's just a bunch of cardboard standees. I guess they'd be made of wood back then. The assembly cards are as follows. I love this illustration. It's very simple, but we have all kinds of moods portrayed on this very simple illustration. A motion to introduce hereditary offices. This motion, don't run away. I'm not done. I'm almost done. You need to see this game in its totality, sort-ish. This is all surface level, which is terrifying given the amount of depth that has been suggested already. This motion proposes that all offices become hereditary. If it is passed, then any office held by a noble who dies is immediately transferred to his heir, who comes into play at the family castle. This is insanity, but there's a really good premise on which this is based, and that is, hey, do you guys vote to change the rules? In any one vote, barons must either cast all their votes or abstain. In all votes, barons at the assembly, including the chairman, secretly writes their choice on a piece of paper. The choice depends on the type of motion. The choices are yes, no, or abstain. The holder of the veto, only if present at the assembly, which is one of these last two components. We have a veto card and a chairman card. The opposite of the veto card explains the veto effects. You can veto just one motion immediately it is passed. The assembly procedure is on the back of the assembly card. My goodness. And nothing that I am saying about this game is meant in any sort of I'm surprised in a bad way. I'm surprised, but it's not a bad surprise. It is, I wish I could sit with somebody who had advanced knowledge of this game, who could teach me to play, because I think that it would be really fascinating to play a round or two of this. But this is not just a board game. This is a time investment. This is something that you would absolutely need to sink in your attention and your wherewithal and your giddy up. Let's go to another assembly card, the granting of the wine concession. Income 40 crowns. We have our 40 crown there. A baron already holding a wine concession must surrender it immediately. This one is allocated. A little bit of English editing that could have gone on there. Take this card if you are granted the concession. It brings no revenue until you have allocated 100 mercenaries or regular troops to run it. They can only be transferred to it from your stronghold during your movement phase. If you lose the concession, the troops return to your stronghold. So this is the example given in the setup diagram where you have a concession. This is the wool concession in the example, and then you have troops that you have allocated to run the concession. So this goes on, and we don't even know yet about moving from place to place or what combat is like, anything like that. You've got to allocate your troops first. Did you run away? Are you still here? I just want to briefly go over my understanding of this because I think that it could inspire a lot of similar actions in games that aren't this type of game, but could benefit from homebrew that has this kind of mindset behind it. So you have a vote. You can vote in the two-player game. Obviously, there are rules for that. You have the veto, which also has rules for a two-player game. The veto's powers cannot be used in a two-player game, basically. The card is passed as normal simply to indicate the game leader. You can refuse the assembly decisions. A baron can only refuse to abide by assembly decisions that require specific action on that baron's part, like paying a tax or accepting a governorship or ambassadorship for their noble. No baron can refuse to abide by motions activated by the assembly, such as the withdrawal of concessions or an office held by the baron's noble. Any baron refusing to abide by an assembly decision is banned from attending further assemblies until any debt is paid or they are pardoned by a private motion. The roleplay here is strong. I mean, you can't not roleplay this. I mean, it's roleplay in the rules. Next up, turning new assembly cards. Then there is the stronghold attack phase. The chairman now asks if those barons not at the assembly will be launching any stronghold attacks. Stronghold attacks are carried out as detailed in section 22. The assembly round continues only after any stronghold attacks have been launched. Then fleet launches and progress. Unless there are already 4 fleets at sea, a new fleet now sets sail on one of the 4 trading routes. The Indies, China, Spice Islands, or Ceylon. The chairman calls for investments in the new fleet and then places a fleet counter on box 1 of a trading route that has no fleet. The only bags of tokens that I haven't gone over yet is this bag of chits here, which actually does have your ship chit, and more tokens that have the same color convention and numbers, which we now know to be an amount of force, maybe attack, maybe defense, and then 10 crowns, although what that refers to, I don't know. And we also have these. I forgot what these were called. I'm going to tell you, though. That was a fleet counter. There are also end-of-line counters. That is just Death. That is a grinning skull on a fleshy body with a scythe. These are garrison counters. That's what they are. That's the defensive strength. That's the cost of the garrison upkeep. We have city control markers. That's these guys, and the numbers on the corners indicate the siege turn record. These go onto spaces that have gameplay components on them because they are outlining them. That's why you have this hole in the center explaining those components. The city name is on the board. For example, Koval, it has a defensive strength of 200. So Isar has a defensive strength of 200. Froli has a defensive strength of 300. Rota has a defensive strength of 400, and so on. The basic income from the city is denoted here in this symbol. Rota's basic income is 40 crowns, 60 crowns for Lens, 20 for Isar. If these are real cities and you are from this area, feel free to correct me in the comments below on the pronunciation. We have a different type of marker, however, the improved control marker, and these are again color-coded to the baronies, and they have these protruding edges. These boxes have grown in the corners, and there's a message on the top of every one of them that says double income. Whew! Our fate cards seem to give us those acts of God that occur through regular gameplay. These aren't things that the players can vote on. For example, bumper harvest. Roll dice to establish 5 different areas. There is a bumper harvest in the 5 established areas. Owners of any cities in those areas receive an immediate payment of double the revenue for their city as printed on the board. Royal Pretender. Roll dice to establish area. A Royal Pretender has surfaced in the established area. Place the Royal Pretender counter there. The first noble to reach him can capture him. He must be with a noble at all times thereafter. The possessor of a Pretender gains 3 additional votes at assemblies that the Pretender has been visible, in other words, not holed up in a stronghold or castle, for the 2 wage and movement rounds preceding the assembly, and there is no other visible Pretender, so there can be multiple Pretenders. Disaster at sea. Roll 1 die to establish city. Acre, Cadiz, Alexandria, Syracuse. 5, 6, roll again. There is a terrible storm at sea. All in transit to or from the established city are killed. A proposal that there may be a paid assembly chairman. Is that a fate? That's assembly card. I know the difference. Forced march. You may play this card in one of your subsequent movement phases. It enables you to move 1 noble twice in that phase. It cannot be used for overseas transits, and if you have more than one of these cards, is limited to 1 card per noble per phase. I like this one. It's Uprising. There is a general uprising in the 5 established areas. All nobles caught in the open in those areas, their stronghold, or not in a city, their stronghold or castle, must defend against an attack of strength 400. That's the attack strength of an uprising. There's quite a bit to this. That goes without saying, honestly. This is really only scratching the surface of what is doubtless a very intense and very involved game that I have no doubt is very polished in its rule set and extremely immersive. As for me and mine, this is something that I would really love to learn to play. Doubtless there are other examples of games that kind of have this similar theming and this play style, this rule set. Probably try to accomplish the same things, maybe a little cleaner, maybe easier to learn. If you know of any, let me know. There may even be a video game version, which would honestly shock me, but it actually wouldn't shock me that much. A lot of these older games look very complex until you break down all the components, and then it just becomes a matter of what can you do and when can you do it until you have a flow going. All of the components are very immersive. I really appreciate that. There's nothing sterile about any of the symbology or placement of UI anywhere on the board, and you really won't find that sort of thing on games from this era anyway. Everything was made to really evoke and conjure your imagination. When you play this, you are a baron from this questionably medieval time period. You are trying to make sure you secure your nobility spot as the next new royal for hours or perhaps days as you leave and come back. This will definitely stay in my collection until such a time I can learn to appreciate how the actual gameplay runs. But until then, brave heroes and warrior knights alike, that is Warrior Knights in a bit of a nutshell. I thank you very much for your kind attention today, and if you'd like to make any sort of comments about the presentation or this game, I'd love to know if you have experience playing this. I'd love to know your battle record. Please let me know in the comments below. Also, are you using storage solutions like this? Do you have any good suggestions for storage solutions. I really, really like these light blue containers for the super small components, but you don't often have games with numerous components that are that small enough for those to be useful. All told, I thank you very much for your kind attention, and I can't wait to see you in the next exciting adventure, which doubtless will be a little less politically intriguing than this one. Thank you again, brave ears. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and for now I bid you farewell and onward.